Welcome back to the Anishinaabe Podcast with Gracie Swain. I'm your host, and on this podcast, you can expect to find all things manifestation, self-development, mindset, wellness, Indigenous culture, and my life. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Kiana Gomez, the creator of Cocktail Bomb Shop. Kiana has built a 7-figure business in less than 1 year at 23 years old, has been featured on Dragon's Den, and for our non-Canadian listeners, that's the equivalent to Shark Tank, and has built an impressive following on TikTok with 205,000 TikTok followers. So Kiana, welcome. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today. I'm super excited to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to start us off, just tell us more about you and your story. How did you come to invent Cocktail Bomb Shop?
Yeah, so pretty much what happened is when the pandemic hit, I used to work in like a soap store where they surprisingly used to sell bath bombs. And then obviously I lost my job. So I was looking for something to do. So I started making cakes from my house, like custom cakes.
Cool.
And it wasn't very profitable, but like I did it because I enjoyed it. And then a friend of mine sent me the video for the hot chocolate bombs. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Yeah. I saw those all over TikTok when they were first
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, so like a great way to make hot chocolate. And I went to Bulk Barn. I bought like a $60 bag of chocolate with my boyfriend. He was like, "Don't buy it this much chocolate. I don't know if people are really gonna buy this thing." And finally, I posted Oh, I think you froze.
I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi is kind of bad. I'm going to see if it'll connect to my phone real quick.
Oh, no problem.
Just because I don't want it cutting in and out. But
Yeah.
oh man, I just got that Starlink Wi-Fi.
Oh,
But
is it good?
it's supposed to be good, but I don't know if we have it in the right spot. We might have to change where we put it. I
Oh, I see.
feel like it's like any Wi-Fi. It's hard to set up in the first bit, but regardless, hopefully it'll work at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it cuts out, I'll just pause and kind of resume. But thanks for your patience.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yeah, so where you had kind of left off was you were just saying about how you had bought all of the chocolate, and then your boyfriend was telling you, "Hey, why are you buying this much chocolate?"
Oh, okay. Yeah, it froze again.
Yeah,
So I didn't hear like your last part.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I was just saying how you were talking about buying everything for the hot chocolate bombs and everything.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I bought everything for the hot chocolate bombs, and honestly, to my surprise, it really exploded. We ended up selling for like $60,000 worth of hot chocolate bombs in the space of 4 months, which was, to be honest,
Wow.
completely unexpected. Everyone was helping, friends, family. My mom came to move in with me just to help make them to get the business going. And yeah, but then like right after Valentine's Day, the business like completely died. And I didn't want to go back to making like cakes. I wanted to do something like a bit more like profitable and a bit different. So I looked online. I found like this really old article about a bartender that had made the cocktail bombs like years ago, but like it was never really put to market. So I thought it was cool. I bought a bunch of random ingredients, tested a bunch of different things. At the beginning, nothing really worked that well, but after like about a month of like trial and and like prototyping, I had the first prototype, and then I put a video on TikTok, and instantly it like went viral for some reason, and then it kind of just all started from there.
Wow, that's amazing. And so would you find that with the hot chocolate bombs, you were promoting those on TikTok, or were you just promoting them locally in your area?
I was only promoting those like locally, and also I had a shop on Etsy.
Wow.
But I never thought of putting them on TikTok, honestly, before.
Okay. Very cool. That's awesome. So, with your cocktail bomb shop, I know that on this podcast, we like to talk about all things like mindset and self development. And clearly, you've had so much success in your business already, which I think is so incredible. Would you say that mindset or any type of wellness or self development has contributed to your success?
Yeah, I mean, I think like in order to accomplish something that I've noticed is you can't really like think about it too much. You just have to like dive right in.
Mhm.
Because then like if you start thinking, you'll start doubting yourself, start thinking about what can go wrong. Whereas if you just do it, and even if you start from nothing, something will eventually happen. And also like I think like if you put yourself in like a state of mind that you will succeed and this will work, even if at the beginning it's more tricky, you'll always like find a way to divert and find something that works for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that for a lot of people, they have that fear of success, which I clearly don't think that you ever had to go through that. But when you were growing your business, and it sounds like it grew pretty fast and accelerated fast, was there ever a point throughout that process you're feeling like, hold up, this is a lot all at once? And I know you're talking about your family coming to help you, or did you feel as though, okay, this is exactly what I wanted, this is awesome, like the more the merrier?
I felt like, I mean, in the time of the hot chocolate bombs, I felt like I was really like going with the flow and like I really enjoyed like the quick success.
Mhm.
But I think when it stopped, like right after Valentine's Day, it was kind of like a reality check, like, okay, like this is not like what's gonna last forever. And I think like I kind of became like addicted to having the success. So I had to find a way to like find another product, do something else. And even like now, like everything kind of just like snowballed into the way it is today. But I think like there's definitely been some times where I'm like, you know, when we rented our first like production facility, I was like, okay, wait, is this really like, you know, is this really good? Do we need this? Is this too much money? Or when we hired the first employee too, you know,
Mhm.
I was like, should I just do it myself? Was it really necessary? So like kind of like putting myself into question, like if we really need to spend money, you could say, but finally it was all worth it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those beginning steps in your business are probably the scariest ones because you're not really sure what to expect, but it definitely comes through in the end. But that's
Yeah.
awesome. So tell us more about, I'm so curious to hear about your experience with Dragon's Den. How did you feel going into that? Were you nervous to pitch? Were you excited? Like, tell us about that journey, as much or as little as you'd like to share.
Yeah, so honestly, I never really like thought I would get accepted on the show. Like I kind of just signed up online for fun, thinking like nothing of it. And I didn't want to get my hopes up either in case like I
Yeah.
got refused. So I basically just filled out the form. I made like a 30-second video, like pitching the product, and the producers called me back and asked me if I want to do a Zoom interview. And I was like, okay, this is real. I'm going to do a Zoom interview now.
Mhm.
So I did a Zoom interview. They asked me questions like as if they were the dragons. And I thought I did well, but I was like, I'm going to get this out of my mind because there's no way they're going to take me, like, not possible. But finally, like a week later, they called me back. They're like, oh, we have a few follow-up questions for you on Zoom. So I was like, okay, did I do something wrong? Like, I don't know. So I did the Zoom, and finally it was like a surprise to tell me that they had taken me on the show, which I was super happy about.
Yeah.
But we needed like, so it was like, I think I did the audition in like February, end of February. And then I had to pitch May 1st. So basically I had like a few months to prepare.
Mhm.
And once I had like, I had to like do my pitch. I had to like, you know, watch all of the Dragons episodes ever, just to see like what type of questions they were gonna ask me. And then when the day came, I mean, I think I was ready, but like obviously I was still really stressed. So I went to the studio in Toronto. They made me wait like backstage for like 8 hours before it was my turn.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
in like a little room by myself, which was kind of like painful because I was just anxious the entire time. But anyways, I got to review my pitch like 1,000 times. I had nothing else to do. But then when it was time to actually go on like the set for Dragon's Den, I was literally crying backstage, and like the production team was trying to like hype me up
Oh no. Okay, I
Hello.
can hear you again. Sorry.
Okay. Did you miss anything?
I cut out when you said that they were trying to hype you up.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the production team, they were like trying to hype me up because I was so stressed, like I had tears in my eyes. But finally, like I just went for it, and I guess it went well. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it went well.
definitely. I could not tell at all that you were stressed in your pitch, to be honest. Oh no. Okay. This should connect now that it's connected to my phone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. This should be better because it finally connected to my phone. So we'll see how this goes. But
Okay.
I was just going to say that I could not tell that you were that stressed at all in your pitch. You seemed so confident and so sure of yourself.
Really?
Like your voice was not breaking at all. I feel like when I'm nervous, I talk so fast and sometimes my voice will like break a bit or crack. And I'm like, oh, you could tell I was so nervous in that. But I could not tell by your pitch that you were that nervous.
I feel like I was almost so nervous that I was kind of like acting, if you kind of see what I mean.
That's wild. So they had to, so you were literally almost crying before going out and pitching.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, a lot of people will like meet me and they'll be like, "Oh, I thought you were more like talkative and outgoing and like sociable because of your pitch." And I was like, "No, not really."
But I mean, like you said, it takes a long time to prepare and go into that because you want to be ready. And I'm the exact same way. I would have been freaking out, especially if you have 8 hours to just sit there and mull over and think about it. I'd be like, I'd be crying too. It'd be too
Yeah,
much.
sitting alone.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no kidding. Alone in a room by yourself. Like, that's crazy to me. Wow.
Yeah.
So I know for a lot of people who are listening, they may not have heard of Cocktail Bomb Shop before, and I'm just realizing we didn't really touch on this, but can you explain to everyone what exactly a cocktail bomb is?
Yeah, that would be a good starting point. Um, so if you're not familiar with a bath bomb is basically like a lot of people are not familiar with bath bombs, so I'll just explain. It's like a round bomb that you put into your bath and it explodes and it gives color, it gives sparkles sometimes, and it gives like a nice scent. But basically, Cocktail Bomb Shop, we've created a bath bomb before your drink. So you add it to sparkling water, it fizzes, it dissolves, it like glitters, and it gives like a nice flavor. We have over 30 different flavors. And then you could enjoy it as a mocktail, or if you want, you could add some alcohol and drink it like that. So it's good, like if you have kids around, people that don't drink, things like that. It's like a fun way to enjoy cocktails. Like, you know, you've
Yeah.
got like a show part, and then it's really good. You've got the glitter too, so like
Mhm.
it's a great way to enjoy drinks.
That's amazing. And I love the cocktail bombs. I actually was first introduced to them because I can't remember what influencer platform I was on, but they had sent me a free box of the cocktail bombs. And that was the first time I had heard of them. And I had tried them at my house with my mom. And they were like, these are so fun. These are so cool. So of course I like was on TikTok and followed you. And that was just kind of how I came to hear more about your story. And I was like, man, she's also from Canada. That's awesome. She's also in her 20s. That's a bonus too. So the more I started to learn, the more I was like, wow, this is a really awesome product. And I just love the story behind it. So anyone listening would definitely recommend. But yeah. So I guess like another question that I had, because I know we had touched on the self-development portion earlier. But do you have any, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be like, I feel like people think of spirituality as so like witchy and woo, but do you have any self-care or even wellness rituals in your life that you just love to do?
Yeah, I mean, like I really like to like take time for myself to just like disconnect from like, work and like kind of like phones and everything. So I kind of do that by like, traveling, stuff like that, like just taking time to explore, like kind of enjoy the moment. Um, but I have to say, like, despite like the fact that like, you know, I travel a lot and all that, like I feel like when you have your own business, you still always think about work. But at the same time, like I've kind of made like the business like in my mind be like more fun and not like a dreadful job,
Mhm.
if you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
definitely. I can definitely relate. I'm always thinking about work. I always say to people, it's so fun to work from home, but the other toxic part about working from home is that it's like, when do I stop working? It's like that
Yeah,
boundary, right? Setting those boundaries are so important. So can definitely relate to that. So do you find that with the cocktail bomb shop, you're traveling a lot for work?
I mean, I'll go do like shows and stuff, like, you know, and maybe in the US, like we did one in like New York City not too long ago, but I think like I'll mostly just like try to like go see a new place and I'll like kind of do my work from there.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that when you said you were building out this business, it had kind of grown a bit fast. And I guess another question I had for you, because I know when I launched my business, you know, I love them, but there was some friends and family members who were like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if you should do that. Did you at any time have people kind of say things like that to you along your journey? Or did you find that for the most part, everyone was very encouraging and kind of helped you through that process?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that most people like really close to me, like let's say like my parents and like, you know, my boyfriend who actually works with me,
Awesome.
and like very close friends were like, oh, like you should do this, like, you know, this is gonna work, I know it, like they believed in me. But I honestly felt it was the people that were like kind of separated from me, like maybe old friends, friends of friends,
Yeah.
uh you know, that would be like, oh, how do you know this is gonna work?
Mhm.
I don't think people are gonna buy this, you know. Or even just like random people, like I think the people that really care about you will like see that you're happy and want you to succeed. Like if they would have seen that I was doing this, like let's say my parents, and that I was miserable, they would have been like, okay, no, don't do this. But because they saw I was happy, like they encouraged it. But I feel like it's like those that don't really care about you that kind of tell you not to do things so that you don't succeed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And what advice would you give to other people listening who have felt, you know, that so many people have that fear of people that they don't even know? You're right. It's not even really your friends or family, but the people that aren't as close with you that will kind of try and tear you down. How did you kind of combat that and get through that?
Well, to be honest with you, like I'm a person that really like thinks a lot. Like someone will say something to me and it'll really like stick
Mhm.
for a while, and I'll like constantly think about like what that person said. So someone said, "Oh, don't like rent this building because you're going to be stuck paying rent for the term of your lease and you're going to lose all this money and it's not going to work." I'm going to think like, "Okay, wait, next month am I going to have enough money for rent? Okay, the month after. Okay, but like now it's working, but what if it doesn't work like in 2 months? What if everyone stops buying? What if everyone hates it?" So that's kind of like my thought process half the time, which is kind of not great. But anyways, I feel like I kind of try and take like those negative thoughts of like that people have, and I try and be like, okay, now that someone said that this is not going to work, what can I do to make this work?
Mm,
So I
yeah.
kind of try and like flip over like the the
Yeah.
narrative.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And I think that answer is so real because it's so true. And I feel the same way. Someone will say something and I'm thinking, oh, they're right. What are the possibilities? Weighing out kind of like the pros and cons, trying to make a plan against that, right? But I think you're so right in the fact that the thoughts are going to happen inevitably, but how we respond to them, how we react to them, I think is really powerful. And exactly what you were saying, you know, giving power to those thoughts and thinking, oh, they can instead be like, yeah, they're right and not do it, or try to prove that kind of wrong, right? So I think that's really important.
yeah. Yeah, because like you can say like, oh, you know what, don't listen to them. But like first,
Mhm.
like in my case, for sure I'm gonna listen to them. It's impossible to
Yeah.
tell me not to listen to someone. It stays in like my head.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And especially when you're making big decisions, like you're right, when you're renting out a space and you're paying rent for something, that can be anxiety inducing to begin with. So when someone says something like that, kind of adds fuel to that fire, right? So inevitably, we're only human, right? We're going to have those thoughts. So definitely. So
yeah.
outside of Cocktail Bomb Shop, Is there anything you would like to share with us just about you? Like, what does your day-to-day look like? Do you have any passions or hobbies outside, or even that have just led you to this business?
Um, Honestly, like I think like I'm like very like artistic person. So like I really enjoy like baking and like, just like creating things kind of like maybe like painting or things like, just everything very artistic. So I think like that kind of led me to the business. And also before I started Cocktail Bomb Shop, I was in university for journalism. So I really enjoy writing as well, like storytelling, like, you know, doing interviews, things like that. But I think like I didn't graduate because I had to drop out because of Cocktail Bomb Shop, but I think the brief background that I had in journalism kind of like helped me be good at like social media and like help me promote the product the way I did.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you were saying that you had to drop out of school for Cocktail Bomb Shop. Can you tell us a bit about that decision and how that felt?
Yeah, so when the business really started to take off, so when I was doing the cakes and the hot chocolate bombs, I knew that I was going to stay in school and do like my little side business part-time. And then once the cocktail bombs launched, like it just became so crazy. So I had like one semester in school while the cocktail bombs were working out, and then I had the summer where I didn't have school and I was just working like crazy. I was actually like doing production all day long that entire summer
Wow.
with like a team of people. And then in the fall, like I know you have like a specific date to drop out. I don't remember how long it was,
Yeah.
but it was like a few days before that date where I was like, you know what, like I can't do both. It's either like the business fails or the my school fails. So I was like, I can always go back to school, but this business may not be there tomorrow if I don't work on it. So I just made the decision to drop out and focus 100% of my time on the business.
Wow, that's incredible. And I know that for so many people, that can be such a scary decision, especially in this day and age. I know so many people, they prioritize school, or they're only taught, you go to school and then you get a job. But you're so right in the fact where you could always go back to school, but when a business is picking up, and especially if it's gaining momentum on social media and it's trending right now, you don't want to just drop it and come back to it or wait for someone else to pick it up, right? So I'm sure that those were all thoughts going through your mind, but ultimately, I think you made the best decision you could for your business in the end. So I think that's
Yeah,
incredible.
definitely. No, I really, and that too, like the people that weren't so close were like, oh, you can't drop out of
Yeah.
school. Like, what does this look like? You're not going to have a degree. So I feel like also a lot of people that like kind of decide to go the school route, not everyone obviously, but they
Mhm.
do it mostly just to not be seen as someone that dropped out of school.
Yeah,
So I didn't really
definitely.
want to follow like that path where like, oh, how will other people perceive me because I don't have like a university degree?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
now I really don't care. So
Yeah, you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm successful, I'm happy, it doesn't matter.
like don't bother me with these little things.
For sure. And it's so true. And I always kind of refer back, and I cannot remember where I heard this, but someone saying, don't take advice from people who aren't in a position you don't want to be in, right? So people who
Yeah.
are in school or people you don't really know kind of telling you, oh, don't do this. Well, do they have a business? Are they on the same route as you? Do they have that success that you're kind of looking down that path for? If not, then why listen to their advice, right? They're not really going to be helping you or being a successful mentor for you. So I think it's so
No.
true. Yeah. But yeah. So I just had a few more questions for you because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
yeah, but I guess like one of my questions is like, what is next for Cocktail Bomb Shop? Like, what do you see for the future of the business? I know this is a loaded question, but do you have any new products like coming out soon?
Yeah, so basically like I really want to expand to the US because I feel like we
Mm.
have like a lot of like reach in Canada and the US is like very, very, very minimal. So
Yeah.
that's definitely like on my like short-term plans. But in order to do that, we also have to like increase our production capabilities and all that. So right now we're in the process of moving into like a new facility, which is going to be like even more efficient than the one we have now. And like that, I think we'll be able to increase the production and then move across the border. But also like I do want to create new products, but now I'm like under a struggle because I'm like, I call the company Cocktail Bomb Shop because I never like reflected about a name. I was just like, oh, Cocktail Bomb Shop. Okay,
I mean, it
whatever. I'll
makes
just
sense for the product. So
yeah. But now that I want to like add new products, like other cocktail things, like I want to sell the glitter individually, like with
yeah.
there's glitter in all the bombs, but I want to sell it individually. I'd like to sell glasses, like other cocktail related products, but I'm like, should I make another business or just put it under Cocktail Bomb Shop? So that's another dilemma that I have. But yeah, basically I just want to expand to the US and make new products.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. Expanding
Yeah.
and building. I'm so excited for the future of your business. I
Oh,
love following along and just seeing all of your content. I think it's incredible and just so motivating and so inspiring seeing like another Canadian that's also young, a woman in business. I think it's incredible. So you're doing amazing.
thank you.
But yeah, I would say too, like, and obviously, I don't want to give you business advice, but I would say even if it's under the Cocktail Bomb Shop name, I've seen so many businesses that have kind of that term and then they have umbrella businesses underneath it. And I think it would just make
Yeah.
sense to have, the cocktail glasses and everything too, but also makes sense if you wanted to put it under a different name. But in my mind, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I would totally go to your website and order a glass or something in relation to the product. So
Yeah, like maybe I'll like it'll be like you said, like an umbrella, like Cocktail Bomb Shop, but then like this brand, which is called like
yeah.
Glitter Shop. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
But anyways.
Very cool. I can totally see it now. I love it. But yeah, so I guess like one of my last questions is what advice would you give to our listeners who either have a business idea or a dream that they're trying to work towards in their own life?
I think like I think I said it earlier, but basically like my advice to everyone is always just like you just have to start because if you don't start and you think about how you're gonna start, you're never gonna achieve anything. And also like I know a lot of people before they start a business, like money is a big factor. Like, oh, I need to raise this much amount of money or this I have to be at this point in my life before I take this risk. But like if you don't do it now, I don't think you'll ever do it because you're just gonna make like not even make excuses, but just like think of reasons why you shouldn't or why it's a bad idea. Whereas if like you're like, okay, you know what, like I don't know. There's actually another girl that I find really inspiring. She makes like these ice facial machine, like ice facials. It's
Oh,
called
yeah,
like
yeah.
and like her basically she just like got like a 3D printer and 3D printed like this beauty device
No
and put
way.
it on TikTok, yeah, and started selling it. So like you don't really need like just dive into it. You don't really need like a plan or I never had any business plan.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of did what I had to do. So just jump in.
Yeah, for sure. And with your business, did you feel as though you were thinking about it for a while before you dived in, or were you kind of like, this is it, this is what I want to do, and just went for it?
I just went for it, honestly. I just obviously like I had to make the prototype
Yeah.
somehow, so I couldn't like really, just dive into it, but I kind of did. I just started making the prototypes. So then when I had something that made sense, I just started selling it. So
Yeah, for sure. And that's honestly the best advice because I say that all the time too. I always say start before you're ready because it's so true. And you're so right in the fact where it may not necessarily be excuses, but as humans, we're so caught in this perfectionism or feeling like everything needs to be completely laid out before we kind of take the next step. And oftentimes in entrepreneurship, it's not that straight path, as you've learned, I'm sure, so many times. So definitely
yeah,
takes diving into it before you kind of see that path made clear to you.
yeah, exactly. That's
Mhm. So yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to share with us before we kind of close off with our last remarks and where people can contact you?
yeah, I think like also like we touched on it too, but like to like not really like listen too much to people. Like even though it's hard.
Yeah,
Kind of just follow your gut, your own heart, because we all have like a different path, and like your path may not be what's right for someone else, but like just because it's not right for them, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow your path.
yeah, definitely. Oh, Love this advice. Love this call. I think you have so much wisdom to give and are honestly so intelligent for everything you've done so far. So I think it's incredible. So last but not least, where can we find you on social media? Where can people purchase your cocktail bombs? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so you can find us online at cocktailbombshop.ca if you're in Canada and .com if you're in the US. And you can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest at Cocktail